Hey everyone, Abby here. How are you guys doing today? Today I am bringing you the second part of Bruce and the fertility clinic report. Um, the email that Pam had sent me was really long. Um, so that's hopefully you remember where we left off last. We left off with Pam talking to the doctor at the fertility clinic, and she was giving her information about sperm donation. So, yeah, that's where we left off. And she was at the point where she was describing exactly what happens um, should they consider coming in and participating in sperm donation. So, today, here we go. We're going to pick up there. And I have my very last more. Sad. Have to really savor this one. It's the last one till I get back to the smoke shop. Anyway, picking up where we left off, we have them lie down on a milking bed, similar to a normal massage table, but very much longer and with a hole in the right place. His chastity device is then removed and we wash and sterilize the device. He is then washed. You have to be very careful with the washing. We don't want any unfortunate accidents. Then the extraction device is placed over his member and turned on. As collections become more difficult towards the end of the 24 hours, an electroprobe is often helpful. This is never any sexual contact between myself, my nurses, or the male, but we are very good at role playing. All my staff receive a special clothing allowance. Things like high heels, leather, or latex. We like to find out what triggers the best response. In Bruce's case, watching women smoke. We cannot smoke here in the clinic, but Pam, you could make up a short video of your smoking that he could watch. I am sure I could put something together, I said. I don't want to tell her now. I had a couple of hours on video already. We are not cruel here, Pam. He will be given time between donations to rest. We have TVs and internet in each room. Is he allowed to use the internet during the collection procedure? Oh, yes, that is encouraged, Judy said. I thought Bruce could look at your site, Abby, to help with the more difficult donations. Okay. Do I get a cut of that donation money? Just curious. I feel like I'm playing a part in this. I feel like I should get a cut of it. I don't know. Anyway, I'm cracking myself up here. Sorry, guys. Back to the story. Normally, we take 8 to 10 donations in a 24-hour period. My mind raced. $500 per donation. 8 donations, that's $4,000 a weekend. On the Sunday morning, just before we put him back in his device, we give him a shave first and apply our own made in-house special anti-rash lotion on him. We developed it in our labs. We here at the clinic understand that it is a sacrifice for both of you. I mean, it is only 2 weeks for him, but for you, Pam, penetrative sex with Bruce is over. No more riding the wild pony. Can you handle that? I have been thinking about a Sibian, I said. Very good, Pam. I think I have a coupon for a Sibian here. I will find it and send it to you. We gave out Sibians as Christmas bonuses to the staff last year. They are expensive, I asked. Yes, Bruce's first week's donations will more than pay for it. Plus, you will want all the attachments. My wife and I have one each other. We often push them tighter and enjoy them that way. That way we can cuddle each other and we swap controls. I often have a massive big O, and if she is not holding me, I can faint and fall off. Abby, I am not a big fan of lesbian tango, so I wanted to change the subject. Judy, I used her first name. Do you use any restraint devices when he is on the milking table? I asked. What do you mean, Pam? Like police handcuffs or leather restraints on his wrists or ankles? Pam, this is a respected fertility clinic, not some S&M dungeon. My Bruce often appreciates restraint device. It helps him to focus. Judy raised one eyebrow and made a note on his file. Pam, a second period in chastity is tough enough, but for a man that is circumcised. But your Bruce is not circumcised. Well, it can be hard to keep him clean. Have you ever talked about having him done? We have, but unless it's for a medical problem, his insurance company will not pay for it. My wife would gladly do it at no charge, Judy said. He could be all healed up before an opening comes up in our program. Could he heal that fast? I asked. Yes, Pam, we use a laser, not a traditional knife. They heal much faster, and the laser cauterizes the wound, so less chance of infection. My wife prefers to use the knife. She is sort of old school that way, but the laser heals faster. Pam, has Bruce ever had an enema before? Oh yes, he now enjoys them very much. At first he fussed a bit, but now he enjoys them. I would almost say he looks forward to them because he understands what happens next. Good, that will make it easier if we need to use the electroprobes. Pam, now one last box is to be checked in this consent form. Does Bruce perform oral tango on you, and does it excite him to do it? Oh yes, and he is very good at it. That's odd, Judy said. Most males are not. Let me explain. I said when he was in university that all his girlfriends would let him do because of his size. One girlfriend even called him a freak. Another called him a pervert when she found out he liked to watch her smoke. Technically, he was a virgin when I met him, when he was at 22. That's too bad, Judy said. So many young ladies are very rude and mean. Why do you ask? Pam, my young nurses here that take the donations have a very long night on the Saturday and Sunday mornings. I like to give them this as a reward for their hard work. Well, if it helps Bruce produce another donation and advances the cause of science, why not? I said. Pam, that's very kind and generous of you. I will make sure his face is closely shaved before I drop him off here at the clinic on Saturday morning. Well, Pam, may I ask you a personal question? Judy put down her clipboard. Of course, I said. It says on the form that you work as a nurse, and she named my hospital. Yes, I said, as an OR nurse. It takes a special type of person that understands males and what we do here to them at this clinic. If you're ever looking to change jobs or maybe just pick up some part-time work, let me know. Here is my card. I am sure there is a place in here for you. We are thinking of opening another clinic here in the city, on the north side, closer to where you live. Any interest? This place is an old city police station we have modified for our use. It does have some features that we find very useful, but it is time to expand. I thanked her for the offer, and as we parted, her cell phone buzzed with a text message. She read the message, and her smile turned to a frown. Pam, we have to cut this short. A young man has been killed in a car crash, and his widow wants us to harvest his sperm. His corpse is at your hospital right now. We have an hour to get there and harvest him. You're going to do PSR, I said. Yes, Judy said. You have heard of posthumous sperm retrieval. I have heard of it from a Nurse Rachel at my hospital. Nurse Rachel is a friend of yours? Yes, I said. She has been my boss and mentor for many years, and a good friend of my Aunt Victoria. I know it's wrong to name drop, but it's best to have all the cards on the table. Nurse Victoria was your aunt? You are Victoria's niece, Pam? That Pam? Before I could answer, Judy reached for her intercom on her desk and instructed the person that answered to prepare a portable electrostimulation retrieval unit and make sure it has fresh batteries this time. I am off to the hospital. Alrighty. Let's pause there for a moment. Sorry, she said. I just had to get them to do that. Pam, is it true that your mother would not let your Aunt Victoria attend your registered nursing school convocation? Yes, I said. My mother did not like my aunt. I have not seen her since I was about 8 years old. That's not true, Pam, Judy said. You saw her at your nursing graduation. I don't think so. Yes, she was the elderly lady in a wheelchair that gave you a dozen red roses and a bursary that paid your complete 2 years of room and board and tuition. I know, I was the person pushing her wheelchair. You mean the lady in the wheelchair with all the medals on her chest? The lady that looked like Mrs. Doubtfire from the movie? But she was very old. Pam, that was your aunt in a disguise to fool your mother. But it was so real, and her voice was so, well, elderly. She wore a latex face mask to fool your mother. She wore those clothes for a week to get that old lady smell. She did not fool your father. After the ceremony, he came over to thank her, knelt down beside her wheelchair, and whispered, "Thanks, Victoria." He knew. Over drinks sometime, I will have to fill you in on the 2 years she served this country during the Cold War in the CIA. She served in the CIA? Yes, Pam, she was there at some of our nation's darkest moments. You have seen her many times, Judy said. Do you remember in college when you broke your left leg playing soccer and got a nasty concussion? I don't remember much. I was in a lot of pain. The nurse that attended to you in the back of the ambulance was your Aunt Victoria. During your recovery in the hospital, she was the nurse that attended to you each and every day. She never missed a game you played in. Judy, that lady was the reason I went into nursing after college. I never thanked her. Yes, you did, Pam. You went into nursing. That was all the thanks she ever wanted. Do you remember how your mother objected to you choosing that career? Yes, and I never found out why. But my college was halfway across the state. How could she? Pam, your aunt could work in almost any hospital in this state, at least any hospital that she had a male administrator that had a pulse. She was not a slut, but she did know how to flirt. Well, I don't know much about my aunt. Did you know, Pam, that your Aunt Victoria was the majority shareholder in this fertility clinic? Your aunt could not have children. Why it hurt her so much when your mother would not allow her to have any contact with you. She funded this fertility clinic so that other women could have the joy she never could. Well, that explains the sweet dividend check I get every month. The lawyer refused to say where it came from. Judy looked at her phone again. There is a problem with the hospital, she said. We have operating theater 5, but no staff. My staff nurse here is on holidays out of the country, and my spare nurse is home sick. No problem, I said. I'm a stat OR nurse. Abby, I will let you explain to your readers what a stat nurse is. Stat in hospital language, medical professional language, just like, well, in a lot of languages actually, is drop it, now, move. No time to think, you just drop it and go. Anyway, I will text the head operating room nurse, Nurse Rachel, and get me authorized to assist you. Oh, would you please, Pam? It would mean so much to this widow. His semen is motile for 24 hours, but it is very hard to get operating theater time. I will meet you in operating theater 5 in 20 minutes, I said as I left her office. I was starting to understand how my Aunt Victoria was able to amass such a large fortune. I'm sure she never did piercing or supervised sperm donations, but I'm sure many opportunities for off-the-books work came to her like they are now coming to me. But the CIA, I never knew. I'm going to invite just my father over to my house to talk about what he really knows. I walked out to the waiting room and Bruce was not there. I walked out the front door of the clinic and found him waiting in my car. I was just about to thank him for being such a big man in this undertaking. I am sure it's not easy for a man to have his virility questioned by women. I then saw what he was looking at, the 2 young nurses outside the clinic smoking. I went to Bruce, gave him a kiss on the lips, took his earlobe between my thumb and index finger, and walked him around to the driver's side of my car and told him he was driving. The 2 nurses saw me exercise my authority over my man. They crushed out their cigarettes and went back into the clinic. I scolded him and told him that was the reason he was in the device. I could not trust him. I told him to drive me to the hospital. I was needed. On the drive to the hospital, I informed him about the talk Dr. Judy and I had about his upcoming treatments. I made it very clear things were going to change. I said he would be retested in 1 week and Dr. Judy and I would both supervise his sampling. I made a mental calculation as to how much money he had wasted over the years. I'm sure it's over $1 million. I told him after he dropped me off he was to make a short stop at the grocery store for some Crisco. After he dropped me off, I smoked a Virginia Slim 120 outside the hospital. I need to calm my nerves. Pam. So there you have it, part 2 of the fertility clinic results and what Pam got Bruce signed up for. Now he's going to be donating. Interesting where the story twists and turns. Anyway, hope you guys all enjoy this next little chapter, and we will see you guys real soon. Bye.